in instructional design enhanced by artificial intelligence, a systematic literature review.
Yes.
Right. Thanks.
Hello, everyone.
Bill Malone. Yeah.
And it's I'm not quite Dr. Malone yet, but I'm a doctoral candidate, which is pretty cool.
That is.
Good.
My discussion this morning is going to be on the ethical considerations of instructional design enhanced by artificial intelligence, and this is a systematic literature review. I always like to use this quote, I just love it because it says, ethics in AI is not an afterthought. It's something that must be baked in the cake from the very beginning. As an introduction, I want to emphasize the sheer importance of AI. AI is increasingly being integrated into instructional practices. It's becoming a powerful tool, and it can revolutionize how we deliver instruction. AI is changing the very landscape of how education is taking place. And if we sleep on it, we're going to wake up and wonder what happened. It's an important consideration in AI in education. It influences fairness, transparency, and data security. Key objectives in this systematic literature review is going to be identify the challenges, examine the applications of the TPAC framework, and highlight the gaps and recommendations. We'll move quickly. AI in education. Artificial intelligence has the potential to enhance and offer personalized learning, adaptive assessments, and content delivery. This is something that AI is able to do. It's able to specifically tailor instruction for the student. Something AI, probably only AI on a mass scale. Facilitate data-driven decision-making on instructional strategies, and AI can analyze large sets of data very quickly and provide insights into student performances and learning patterns, helping educators make informed decisions and infrastructure approaches. Theoretical framework that I base this on is the TPAC framework. Now, there's a quote here that I wrote. It's not my quote, I'm sure, but TPAC stands for Technological, Pedagogical, and Content Knowledge. It's a powerful tool that guides educators in effectively integrating technology into the instructional design process. By emphasizing, I didn't know I could do that, by emphasizing the interaction of technology, pedagogy, and content knowledge, TPAC ensures that AI and other technological tools are not just added to the instructional process, but aligns with the educational goals. And this is something I really like about this, because what you might see, there's a lot of things in TPAC, but really it's just these three components. Everybody has to have some technical knowledge, you have to have content knowledge, and you got to have pedagogical knowledge. And this really explores the intersections between those three components and how to integrate technology into the learning process. And I love TPAC because, again, it focuses on what you're supposed to know to integrate this technology. And if you don't know, how can you effectively integrate it and meet your educational goals? Apparently I had 59 pages on that one thing. The research questions I have are I'm going to speak to, and I'm not going to read all of them, but what are the reported experiences and challenges based by instructional designers when integrating AI into the instructional design for adult learners? What ethical challenges relate to data privacy, algorithmic bias, and learner autonomy is highlighted in the literature. Now, I focus on adult learners. I know there's a lot of people who teach children, but adult learners have specific and unique challenges, especially as it relates to AI. And that's why a lot of these ethical concerns have to be brought up right away. How has the TPAC framework been applied? Remember, this is a systematic literature review. And what strategies are documented in the literature for balancing AI technology integration, pedagogical quality, and content accuracy into the design of adult learning courses, and what ethical guidelines are for AI. This systematic literature review examined the ethical considerations of AI-enhanced instructional design. So this is for instructional designers. How are they integrating AI into the adult learning process? I have 5 minutes and I have about 12 slides. Focusing on adult learners without the TPAC framework. Thank you so much. And this systematic literature review, I used about 42 peer-reviewed articles for this study, ranging from 2019 to 2024. The steps involved: I did a database search. I used the databases that were available at Liberty University. I used ERIC, I used JSTAR, I used ProQuest. A final literature review included about 42 articles from various focuses and scopes. Next, I did an exclusion and inclusion filters. I included peer-reviewed articles between the dates I just discussed. I only looked at articles that discussed instructional design and adult learners. I excluded things that didn't talk about those three things. And then I did a data extraction, and I did a quality assessment, because I only want to use stuff that's good. The themes that I encountered, the key themes: ethical considerations. Now, I'm not gonna read all of these, but I want to make sure that you understand that the ethical considerations that apply most to what we're talking about are data privacy, because I'm a grown-up. I have credit scores. I have stuff like that I don't want out in the public, and I don't want AI to share it. Algorithmic bias. Algorithmic bias can determine who gets into school. It can actually determine what courses you take, how you take them, it can decide if you're smart enough to take these courses. AI will make that call. This has to be determined upfront. And transparency. Who has this data? I want to know. AI's potential in education was another thing that came up quite a bit. It's enormously powerful, enormously useful. It's everywhere. And the challenges faced by adult learners. Again, as adults, we have different issues. I mean, a 5-year-old and a 50-year-old go to school for different reasons and have different stuff. Sub-themes, I'm not going to discuss these so much, but get that there was more. Critical issues, again, data privacy, algorithmic bias, and transparency. Lots of literature that I only have 2 minutes to quickly show you that it existed. So if you wonder, say, are there examples of this? Yes. There's another one. And there's another one. And again, remember, I only use peer-reviewed examples and articles. There's a lot of discussion about this right now because AI is the hot topic. I want to jump to the recommendations. I could talk about TPAC for a long time, but know that this is good stuff. The gaps in the literature, I've got to get out before we go forward. The gaps in the literature are, there's a lack of comprehensive. For me, this is why I stuck with this, using TPAC, because there is not much, there's a lack of ethical frameworks in the use of AI in education. It's just not discussed enough. There's just not discussed enough. That's a huge gap that should be filled by researchers going forward. Scarcity of any long-term empirical studies on AI's impact on education. Limited research on cultural and socioeconomic diversity among adult learners who are impacted by this topic, and the need for practical implication of strategies in instructional design. Needs for future research would definitely be developing tailored ethical frameworks for AI in education. There has to be a framework designed specifically for AI in education. Conduct longitudinal studies to assess the long-term effects of AI on education. because it's going to change everything. Elon Musk said AI is like electricity. It's how electricity changed the world, AI is going to change the world. And explore AI's effectiveness across diverse cultural and socioeconomic content. How is it affecting different cultures? How is it affecting different racial groups, different groups? How is it affecting these groups? And formulate actionable guidelines for instructional designers to integrate AI into the instructional design process. There just is not enough discussion about this. Again, my recommendations, as I've just discussed, develop these comprehensive frameworks, prioritize transparency, data privacy, and fairness. Prioritize these things. I have a credit score. I don't trust AI. Conduct ongoing professional development. Encourage collaboration between educators, technologists, and ethicists. We got to work together, or it won't work. It just won't. If you just think it's you, I promise you, you're just going to leave stuff out. And focus on the ethical frameworks and guidelines and development. Tailored ethical frameworks. I'm repeating this because I think it's important. And then my conclusions, summary of key points. Ethical considerations are essential for responsible AI integration. If you don't start with the ethics, you're going to end up with something that can actually be unethical and problematic. AI enhances personalized learning, but requires careful management. It works, but you got to be careful with it. Don't play with it. It's like bullets. Dedicate instructional design and technology teams. The TPAC framework supports effective, balanced AI integration in instructional design. TPAC works. It's just not everybody knows about it, but trust me, the more you read about it, the more you'll fall in love with it. Significant gaps in long-term impact studies and ethical frameworks tailored for adult learners. And the final thought is prioritize ethics, ensure AI benefits all adults equitably, and continuous professional development, which is what Cindy was talking about, is crucial for AI ethical integration. I use references. I didn't make any of this stuff up. And are there any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You talked about ethical considerations for AI, and then you touched a little bit about different countries and different cultures and different values. Did your research delve into anything about ethical considerations and how values changed, like different places? Like if I had AI in the United States, based on the ethical considerations here, what does that look like somewhere else? Did anything you read kind of touch on?
You know, it's funny. Dr. Eshelman asked me a similar question about, I want to say, race or something along those lines. It turns out there's not a lot of differences about these concerns when it comes to adult learners. All adults come into it for, like if I go to school, I'm going to it for my own sets of reasons, but I want my privacy maintained. Doesn't matter what culture I'm in. It doesn't matter where I live. Some of these things are sort of baked in the cake, in that as an adult, I'm going to school for a different set of things. And I'm sticking with privacy because it doesn't matter what planet you're on. I want my stuff, held secret. And then in terms of decision making, I want to always be the one that makes my decisions. I don't want AI to decide I'm not smart enough or this is not the right track for me. And that's the power AI has. So from what I'm reading, it feels culturally neutral, but some things, and I use that as culture because no matter where I am, this stuff matters.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a great question.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.